Hey everybody, Rose Matter here. Welcome to part 12 of my Higurashi When They Cry Matsuribayashi Let's Play. In the last episode, the surprise attack was underway, and it is awesome so far. It's just started already. It's like so exciting. And we left off, I believe, with Okanagi, I believe is his name, realizing that somebody got the drop on them and launched an attack before they had the chance to do it first. And I can't wait to see what the rest of the plan is that everybody has come up with. So we are just going to crack into it, and we are going to see what else is going to happen today on the day of Watanagashi. Will Rika survive? Will everybody survive? Let's find out.
お疲れさんです。今のは誰からですか？
今度はうちの花垂れ所長じゃわい。だんだんと手強くなってきたぞい。だが、わしの敵じゃないな。
Oh yes, so they're talking here about who is the person that is the who's working undercover for the Mountain Dogs.
事務や風情が技術屋に勝てると思ったか。しかし、所長が今日所長会のゴルフでよかったわい。直接来られたらちと面倒だったぞ。
ゴルフ場から電話とは仕事してんだかしてないんだか。大高君め、所長と一緒に乗り込みたかったろうに、今頃悔しがってるぞ。
間接攻撃でダメなら次は直接攻撃ですかね。乗り込んできますか、大高のやつ。
所長が捕まらないんじゃ自分で乗り込むしかないと踏むでしょう。もうじか8時半か。下の窓口が開く頃だ。
Morning had finally arrived. The chorus of cicadas had begun. That familiar sound would make one think it was just another day. But it was hardly going to be normal. It wasn't just an ordinary Sunday. Oishi and his men had already realized they were grazing the tip of a huge conspiracy.
大高君の性分だと多分堂々と胸を張って正面からやってくるでしょう。
自分だけが正義だと思ってるやつにありがちっすね。
わしはここで電話を耐える。お前らはそいつを頼むぞ。
よし、お出迎えで行きましょうかね。クマちゃんはここを頼みます。
The lobby of the Okanagi police was just like that of any other police station. It could hardly be said to have a welcoming atmosphere. Some of the tiles on the floor were broken and cracked, so sometimes people tripped on them. Those spots were covered by pieces of cardboard, and there was a sign that said, "Caution, watch your step." There was also a pot with a dead plant in it. It was far from a friendly lobby. Unlike hospitals and banks, there wasn't a line of people at the counters at the police station, but there were a few sitting on a sofa waiting for the counters to open. And they would open soon. Some workers were standing by on the other side of the counters. Otaku was snobbish enough that Oishi didn't want to deal with him first thing in the morning. If only he was a pretty young woman with big boobs. Oishi and his men were on a very important job. If Otaku found out that Rika Furude's death had been faked, the operation was finished. They were only able to shake up the enemy now, while Rika Furude's death is still on the books. They had to stall for every minute, every second they could, so Tomotake could seize hold of the tail that was popping out. So if the truth about Rika Furude's death was exposed before Tomotake had that chance, the enemy would recover. The emergency manual would regain its credibility, and although the enemy wouldn't enact it immediately, they would try again for sure. Rika Furude had detected the conspiracy ahead of time, but that was a miracle. The divine wins. Japan had prevented Mongol invasions twice in the past with such miracles, but nothing like that happened during World War II. They might not be so lucky next time. They might not get another chance. There might be no next time at all. Unless they defeated them this time, they would never win again. Well, we know this because there is no chapter after this, so this is it. While it was possible to do some serious damage, a tied game would inevitably lead to the enemy's victory. They had to completely expose what the enemy was up to, allowing Tomotake to call in a suppression unit to defeat them. That was why Oishi had to stop their vanguard here. His job, therefore, was an extremely important one. If the enemy's conspiracy succeeded, Hinamizawa would be destroyed, and more than 2,000 villagers would be executed in a gas disaster. Either way, the incident would never go public. but people's lives depended on him. Oishi was violating his professional duties. However, he had to do what was right. Oishi thought back to when the old man taught him that. Someone who, despite the hot weather, was wearing a suit, came in through the automatic sliding door. He had 2 of his colleagues with him. He was showing off his authority like he always did.
よ、おはようございます。
これはおはようございます、大石さん。それから私のことは君と呼ばないでください。もうあなたに君で呼ばれるような立場ではありません。
まあまあ、そんなこと言わずに、大高くん。同じ宅で麻雀を打ってよしみじゃないですか?
Otaka seemed disgusted to hear that. He used to boast about being a good mahjong player, but Oishi once beat him badly in front of many people, which hurt his pride.
あなたとゆっくり休校を温めたいところですが、今日は急ぎの用事がありますので、失礼させていただきます。
まあまあ、そう言わずに。交流剣道大会で少女の筆行委託を忘れちまったと。あんたが私に泣きついてきたんで、こっそりステージ裏で書いてあげたから、無事表彰式ができたんじゃないの。
その件については感謝していますが、今は関係ないことです。
ありゃ、感謝してくれてましたの？そりゃ失礼。そういう話はとんと聞いたことがなかったもので、県警では私が書きたいとわがまま言ったから筆行委託を断ってわざわざ書かせてやったんだって話で通ってましたよ。症状の字があまりにうまくないのでどういうことなんだと本部長に聞かれて以来のあなたの
さあ、どうなんでしょうね。誰かが誤解してるんじゃないですか。私はそんなこと言ってませんよ。
県警本部はあなたの島だろうが、あいにくここは沖宮署でね。あんたの思い通りにはそうそうならんってこってす。
ほう、それはどういう意味ですか、大石さん。
あんたがここへ何しに来たかは知らんが、あんたの島はゴグラだ。沖宮じゃない。おとなしく引き上げてもらいましょう。
何の権限があってだね。
そちらこそ何の権限があってですかな。
県警本部で現在捜査中のある秘匿捜査事件についてだ。その件に関連があると思われる身元不明死体がこちらにあると聞いてね。
なら電話でお問い合わせを。
Okanagi isn't a rich neighborhood. This isn't a place where someone in a custom-made suit should be.
なるほど。どうやら鑑識課の連中とつるんでいるようですね。所長から検視報告をすべて県警本部に引き渡すよう命令が来ているはずです。
その件については鑑識から所長に説明が入っているはずです。まだ検視中でね。Ch.8うちのミスで身元が特定されたような情報が内部に流れちまったようですが、ですので報告書を出すにはちょいと時間をいただかないとならないわけです。
ならその検視に我々も立ち会わせてもらおう。
嫌です。
Haha, I love this. He's great when he's on your side, not so great when, you're trying to fight against him.
私は県警本部の秘匿事件担当として。
それが本当なら。
Yes, yes.
私はあんたの刑事魂を疑わない。刑事魂は高潔だ。そりゃお給料がもらえなかったらこんな商売誰だってやりゃしないです。ですがね、それだけじゃ測れない魂がなきゃ刑事は務められないんです。あんたにその魂があるってんなら私はここを譲りますよ。
The look in Oishi's eyes made clear the anger that was roiling within him. As he looked into those eyes, Otaka recalled all kinds of frightening moments. Otaka didn't want Oishi to sense his fear, but he couldn't prevent himself from loudly swallowing. Yes, it's just like he looks so unassuming, but it's cool that he still has that, like, authority.
ならそこを譲ってもらいましょう。私も刑事魂でここに来ています。そこをどいてください。
No.
なら私をその刑事魂で押してどかしてみなさい。ほれ。
Is there gonna be like a fist fight going on right now?
あんたの刑事魂が私の刑事魂に負けないくらいに重いものなら私なんか簡単にどかせちゃうはずですよ。
We're about to have an old man knockdown dragout fight right now. Amazing.
試してみなさい。
Oishi was obviously saying that he had no intention of letting Otaka through. How could he do this? Otaka was confused. Otaka was an elite policeman at the prefectural police headquarters. He believed academic background and performance record was enough to earn trust. He has been working hard under that belief. But Oishi doesn't acknowledge that, and he doesn't even respect him. He's a scumbag. He was the worst type of person, one who tried to establish their meaning and purpose only through rough means, refusing to acknowledge everything about their superiors in order to protect their own pride, as uncivilized people often did. Otaka had been thinking ever since they worked together. Why did people trust in someone like Oishi? Why did people respect someone like him? Why did people appreciate someone like Oishi more than they did Otaka?
どきたまえ。今すぐどかなければ捜査妨害で君を告発することもできるんだぞ。
ほう。そりゃどんな捜査ですかな。話してくれりゃ協力もしますよ。
だから君もわからない人だな。秘匿捜査だから君ごとき田舎署の刑事には話せんのだ。
なるほど。全部話せないなら一部でもいい。あんたはその仕事に何を背負ってますか？
背負う？何を言ってるんだ？
私はね、背負ってますよ。私の後ろには村の住民の命運2000人分があります。あんたを通せば2000人、いや、その親戚やご家族も含めればもっと大勢の人が悲しむことになる。あんた分かってますよね。
Oh, wow, he's straight up coming out and saying it.
何の話かさっぱりだ。
腹を割ってやる。あんたの飼い主は恐ろしいことを企んでいる。
Oh, is this the right way to do things, Oishi? Like saying right out, like, you know, implying like this is a false investigation or like, you know, a false body that we have and we know what you're planning to do, so we're just gonna hold you off.
あんたはそこまで想像がついちゃいないだろうが、何千人もの人が不幸になる恐ろしい陰謀を企んでるんだ。そいつがくじかれる瀬戸際だってんで、多分就寝中だったあんたを叩き起こしてすぐに調べろと命じたんだ。いくらの小遣いで頼まれてるかは知らんが、それがあんたの刑事魂より重いってんなら。
Oishi stopped talking there, but his eyes continued to speak after that.
何を言っているのかさっぱりわからないですよ。
And this is the reason people respect Oishi, is because he stands by his word. It's like he's willing to throw away his retirement and everything because it's the right thing to do, because to save people.
とにかくそこを通してください。
Otaka's baffled behavior confirmed what Oishi had just said. He had been bought off by someone shady. Though maybe he didn't think he was bought. He probably thought he was just filling the request to confirm Rika Furude's body as a favor from someone in the information network he assumed he built himself. Of course, the part about it being classified investigation was a lie. But when an elite policeman from the prefectural headquarters said it was a classified investigation, everyone would grovel and salute him. But, Oishi didn't salute him at all.
話になりません。このことは後日必ず所長に抗議させていただきます。
Oh.
おう、まだんかい。話はまだ終わってませんよ。
As Otaka tried to walk by, Oishi grabbed him by the arm. Otaka tried to make him let go, but Oishi was just too strong.
話してください。
ありゃ、 大して力を入れてるつもりはないんですがね。あんたに真の刑事魂があったらこんなのには屈しない。あんたの揺るぎない正義が私なんかあっさり打ち倒して踏み越えていくでしょう。だがあんたはこの程度の腕も剥がせない。なんでかわかりますか？
話せ。
てめえには刑事魂がないからだよ。
Oishi let go of his shoulder and Utaka tumbled to the floor, sliding for more than 2 meters.
これは捜査妨害だ。公務執行妨害、いや傷害の現行犯だぞ。緊急逮捕しろ。
Otaka ordered his 2 colleagues around, but they didn't know what to do. Oishi was also a policeman, and obviously there was something more going on between them. Besides, they could sense one thing. Their instincts were telling them that Oishi was far stronger than them. They were no match at all.
どうしましたか、大石さん。
Some officers were gathering in the lobby. They all looked puzzled.
いえいえ、県警の青二歳が筋の通らんことを言い出したもので、ちょいと先輩として指導したまでです。
The officers alternatively looked between Oishi and Utaka. They knew something was going on, but they didn't know the circumstances, so they didn't know which one to stop. Oishi was respected by the policemen of the Okanagi station. Everyone respected him. If Oishi said that Utaka was being selfish, then he must be at fault. Oishi was generally seen as sensible. All of them thought that Oishi would only do this in a public place like a lobby, if it was something major. Otaka was feeling humiliated to get such attention. He stood up calmly, hiding his humiliation with anger.
なるほど。あなたの言い分は分かりました。私も子供の使いでここに来ているわけじゃない。
いい根性です。胸を貸しますよ。かかってこい。
Oh my god, they're gonna fight!
青二歳が
I mean, this is a good way to stall.
そんなもんか。
くそー。
お前の刑事魂はそんなもんか。俺はひなみ沢2000人を背負ってる。諸葛管内2000人の命を預かってる。ならば2000人を押し退ける気迫で今回や。
So epic. It was like watching a match between a sumo wrestler and a small child. No matter how many times Utaka tried to tackle Oishi, he simply crumbled against him. Oishi stood firm as if his feet were rooted to the earth. By the 3rd time Otaka tumbled to the floor, he finally realized that he had been provoked. He caught his breath and fixed his hair.
わかりました。ならばお教えしましょう。私が担当している事件はあなたもご存知の S 号絡みです。
Oh, is he just saying that because he knows that Oishi has like a hate on for the Sonozakis? But Oishi knows the truth.
その経由でとある方面から真偽を確かめてほしいと依頼されたのです。
回りくどい言い方じゃわかりませんな。もうちょいわかるようにお願いします。
何しろ疑われているのはひなみ沢地区では信仰上のマスコットともいえる少女の死なのです。それが事実かどうかすぐに確かめなければなりません。
だから電話で説明したでしょ。現在調査中。まだまだお時間がかかります。
いや、言いたくなかったんですがね。この依頼はもう隠すのはやめましょう。あなたの大の苦手の園崎議員からです。
はあ、紋付き袴の怖い人ね。
He's gonna be like, yeah, that's bullshit.
確かに苦手ですね。
Or is it bullshit? I think obviously he's doing this too because he knows anything Sonozaki. He probably knows that Oishi hates the Sonozakis.
あの人に凄まれたら私も道理を引っ込めて無理を通すしかありません。
But I was gonna say, maybe, I was like, maybe the Sonozakis are in with this alphabet project. It's not too far out of the realm. They seem to have their fingers in a lot of different pies, as it were.
そうでしょう、そうでしょう。その園崎議員から大至急本当にフルで理科の死体なのかどうか確かめてほしいと依頼されたのです。住民の依頼ですからね。住民のための警察です。引き受けるのは当然ですよ。何しろフルで理科はひなみ沢ではただの少女じゃない。特別な意味を持つ少女です。その少女の死体が出たなんて話が未確認情報でも流れればそうでしょう。
あんたそういうのは一般の方の耳に入らないところで言った方がいいですよ。ここロビーですから。
これは失礼。
Otaka suddenly realized his mistake. Some people were even whispering behind him. One of them spoke to Otaka hesitantly.
フルでのリカちゃまが亡くなったっての
Oh
は
shit, it's gonna
本
get
当
out
なのか
everywhere now. And it's like, once a rumor goes around, especially in a small town, it's hard to retract that.
ご安心を奥さん。まだそうと決まったわけではありません。
Because they talk.
それを確認するために県警から参上しました。
そうです。まだそうと決まったわけではありません。現在それを確認中なのでお待ちをと申し上げているだけなのです。
その確認に立ち会わせろと言っているのです。いいんですか？私は園崎議員の依頼でここに来ているんです。その私にここまでの邪魔をしてくれたというなら、それは全て議員に話します。困ったことになるのは大石さん。そろそろ降参した方がいいんじゃありませんか？
Representative Sonozaki was well known in this area as an extremely tough congressman. The people who knew about him continued to whisper. Otaka grinned when he heard them whispering. He realized that then that in Okanagi his threat was more effective than he thought it would be.
あらやだ、三郎さん、そんなこと頼んだのかい？
そこの県警さんや。それ園崎議員さんが
Oh shit, are they right there?
本当に頼んだんですかいの？
ええ、そうです。私が議員から直接依頼されたのです。どうです？大石さん。さすがに降参では。
Oh, is Akane gonna have his back now? Oishi's back to be like, hey, let's call a truce. People continue to whisper. Representative Sonozaki is a big name around here, Otaka thought. Hehehe. Did he realize that he's talking to Akane? Even gangsters give way if someone mentions his name here in Okanagi. Hehehe.
さあ、議員が怖かったらそこを開けてもらいましょうか、大石さん。
ああ、
Hehehe. Yeah, it's all a farce.
反則切符の再交付は8番の窓口でご相談を。
はあ？私がいつ反則切符など。
Oishi suddenly started to talk about something completely different. In fact, Oishi was looking at something behind Otaka. Huh? Who was he talking to? Otaka wondered. Oh, that's right! Oh my god! How perfect is that? That's right, she talked last time about the parking ticket. She's like, since we're friends now, will you forgive the parking ticket? Wow, how serendipitous was that? That, like, she just happened to be coming in to pay her parking ticket, and here this guy is spouting off against about a Sonozaki telling him to do this, and she could be like, that's bullshit. An old-fashioned elderly man and a lady in a kimono were standing behind him. When Otaka's eyes met with hers, she smiled at him. She's definitely my type, Otaka thought.
なあ、お前さん。本当に園崎議員に直接依頼されたんだね。秘書とかそういうのじゃなく。
Oh, you're about to get owned?
そうですとも。こう見えても園崎議員とは懇義な関係でしてね。直接お電話をいただくこともあるのです。
Oh, smack him down, Akane, smack him down. The elderly man continued to listen with a puzzled expression.
お前誰じゃい？
は？名乗るほどではありません。県警本部に勤める一警官に過ぎません。
Oh wait, is this guy the representative he was literally talking about?
あまりにもできすぎたシチュエーションです。
Yep, I think it is.
笑うしかないですな。
I was thinking it was just like, oh, it's funny because Akane will know, but I'm like, if this guy's the representative, that's even better. Though, I mean, he doesn't seem too intimidating. He's just like a little old guy, it seems like.
なんだ、やっぱりこれは笑ってもいいところなのかい？それは私も気づかなかったわ。
Otaka couldn't understand why Oishi and this lady were laughing.
どうしたんですか？今日はご一緒でお越しになって。
いや、それがね、例の切符なんだけどさ、左折禁止の看板が茂った葉っぱで見えなかったんだよ。その出口に白バイが待ってるってのはちょいとやり口が汚いんじゃないかいって言ったらさ、三郎さんがそれは抗議した方がいいって言ってこうしてついてきてくれたわけなんだよ。
ああ行動の樹木は市役所の管轄ですからね。よくそういうのうちに来るんですが、なんともしがたいんですよね。
それを知りながら出口で待ち伏せとるっちゅうがけしからんと思うてな。こうして抗議に来たんじゃ。
わかりました。そいつは市役所と交通課に私の方から行ってきますんで、今日は一つ穏便に済ませちゃもらえませんかね。
あんたがそう言うなら今日は引き上げるとしよう。
When Otaka realized they were Oishi's guests, he fixed his tie and spoke up.
でも違反切符はちゃんと支払うんですよ。
Oh my god, look at this douche throwing his weight around. Oh, Kane. Oh, please. Like, set him straight.
規則です。
カチンとくるお人だね。
カチンとくるお人でしょう。お茶目な一面もたまにあるんですがね。
私は今そこの大石刑事と重要な話をしている最中なんです。さあお二人とも用が済んだらお帰りを。そして良い一日を奥さん。
Grab. Oh. That was a great laugh.
良い一日をね、県警の旦那も。
Grab. The two of them grabbed Utaka's shoulders from behind. The lady grabbed his right shoulder, and the elderly man grabbed his left.
県警の旦那。私は生まれてこの方。嫌いなものが2つある。何かわかるかい？
は？
一つはしいたけ。生まれた時からこいつだけは苦手でね。食うのもダメだし、出汁を取ったのもダメさ。もう一つは嘘。食わされるのもダメだし、出汁に使われるのも気に入らない。ここまでコケにされちゃいけないね。獅子骨の鬼姫、園崎茜。
Yeah.
売られた喧嘩は値引かないのだけが自慢さ。
園崎家のあんたが言うな。あと鬼姫って部分を一市民に置き換えれば完璧です。
は？
Yes, the police officers, the citizens in the lobby, and Otaka's colleagues didn't know what was going on.
ご説明します。こちらは園崎茜さん、獅子骨市婦人権友会の副会長さんです。こちらは園崎三郎さん、県剣道連盟の名誉理事さんです。それより前に肩書きがありますね。獅子骨肉選出の
Yes.
園崎先生です。
Yes.
いやお二人とも県警剣道部師範代の大高君に稽古をつけるために本日はお越しくださったんですよね。なははは、朝から本当に申し訳ございません。さあさあ、先生方を道場にお通ししてください。
Amazing, amazing.
いいじゃん。
なんじゃい、お前さんとは恋の仲じゃ
Yes.
な。踊りが言うたんじゃ。今日はとことん付き合ってもらうぞ。
I find that so satisfying in like any form of media and in real life when someone's lies are like exposed by the very person you know, that they were referring to, like, oh, I know this person, and then the person's like, oh, really? I love that shit. I find it so satisfying.
私も久々に燃えてきた
The two of them were still clinging to his shoulders and laughing meaningfully. Otaka laughed along with them. Amazing. Oh, and this is just the start. I can't wait to see what the rest of this chapter has in store for us.
確かですわよね。確かに昨日の時点で入江所長は女王感染者が在宅しているのを確認したんですわよね。
在宅を確認なんてひどい。
Eerie. Uh-oh. He's in a bad spot right now.
夏風邪をひいたというので様子を見に行ったんです。ですからリカさんの死体が見つかるなんてありえるわけがないじゃないですか。
そうですわよ。ありえるわけがないんですわ。
Just play cool, Eerie. Unlike Tomotake, he seems to be a slightly better liar.
でもそれを確認しないと信じてしまってその誤解する人もいますので。
誰が何の誤解をするんですか？
そのフルでリカが死んだなどと村に知れたら大変な騒ぎになりますし。
Now I'm certain that she's lying. I don't even need to wait to hear from Tomotake-san. Takano-san's objective is the execution of the emergency manual. Its premise is about to be destroyed, and that's why she's panicking. She finally found someone who showed an interest in her research, which made her feel better about herself. Yet that someone is about to cut her off, and that's why she's panicking. She's as pitiful as can be. If it were possible, if there was a way to reach out to her, I would reach out to save her from drowning. But my hand will never reach. It won't reach her unless she reaches out. She's drowning, but as long as she refuses to seek help, I'll never reach her. Until she realizes it herself, no matter how much I reach out, she'll refuse my helping hand. Someone made a good point a little while ago, is like, she's kind of like the inverse of, you know, everybody else, like the club members, where each of them felt like they were in a spot where they felt alone and they couldn't rely on anyone, so they started to turn within themselves and, you know, do horrible things. And that's the problem, is Takano has never, like, she's had people who she relied on and who she trusted, and then they left, and that just made her depressed and, like, go more into herself, as it were, and, like, reject people and just keep them kind of, what's the word I'm thinking of, at, like her relationships were superficial. And because she can't really feel like she can trust anyone, everything is just going wrong, and she's too far gone at this point. However, my selfish imagination will have to stop there for now. It's like she can't be... Unlike the other club members, I think she's past the point of being saved. Is Rika-chan home or not? If she goes into the details, she'll become suspicious of me, since I told her I saw Rika-chan at home. That will put me in a very dangerous position. A man who had been on the phone for some time put down the receiver.
さんさ、電話に出ません。不在のようです。
監視班は何と言ってるの？
いえ、監視体制に入った17日以降、外出の形跡はなく、電話の一本もありません。
ねえ、入江所長。ということは、まだ中にリカちゃんたちはいるということですわよね。
Uh-oh. Eerie, step out, be like, I gotta go.
ええ。そういうことだと思いま
Oh
す。
no. Eerie!
どうでしょう。
Don't falter now, my dude.
もうだいぶ治りかけて元気になってますからね。
Hiro was saying he was a better liar than Tomotake, but I don't know.
うまく抜け出して遊びに行ってるのかもしれません。ほら、今日は綿流しのお祭りじゃありませんか。リカさんの家の近くには確か模擬店部会の水場が設けられていたはずです。人の出入りも多いですから、監視の方が見逃してしまった可能性も。
どうなの？そんなことはありえるの？
入江所長が出られた後には必ずシールしています。
Uh-oh.
まさか窓から出たのでもない限りありえないでしょ。
Oh no, this is just placing it more on Eerie. He's gonna have some splaining to do.
山犬はあくまでも R は家を出ていないと、そういうのよね。
そうです。間違いありません。 R は R 宅内です。そして17日以降一度たりとも外出していません。絶対に在宅しています。
それを確認したのが入江所長だけで、山犬の誰一人確認していないのにそうだと言える。
One of the mountain dogs looked at me. I swallowed and then nodded to him.
ならどうして沖宮署で R の死体が出てきたりするの？
ですからそれは誤報の可能性も。その後の情報では身元不明死体の検視はまだ終わっておらず、フルで理科であるというのは何者かの憶測に過ぎない可能性が高いと。
もうその話は聞き飽きたわ。その怪情報が流れて東京にまで伝わってからもう何時間が経過してると思ってるの？このままでは東京に。
Takano-san realized I was standing next to her and shut her mouth. I could already tell what she wanted to say, though.
さんさ、東京の野村様よりお電話です。
だからしばらく待てと言ってるのに。
Takano-san usually has a lot of self-control, but she's not doing so well. I was just about to say, I'm like, it's weird to see her just breaking down like this. Normally she's so calm. Even her body language makes it clear how irritated she is. Does she have a habit of scratching herself? Oh! Is the paranoia kicked in with her? Is she going to be the one to submit now or, like, give in to, you know, I don't think so. I imagine she's probably been vaccinated against it. Like, they have the shots, right, to protect them? That's the one where Tomotake thought he was given the shot, but he wasn't, and then that's why he died. Ooh. Ooh, that would be crazy if she ended up being the only one who gives in to the L5 at the end of this chapter. As she folded her arms, I could see marks where her nails touched her skin. She's clearly not doing well. It could also be a nervous tick, because maybe they mentioned that in another part of the chapter, or another chapter, if she, like, you know, scratches at herself when she's, like, feeling nervous. Maybe I just forgot about that.
私が出ましょう。野村さんですか？初めてお電話いただく方ですね。
いえ、サンサー邸ですので。
The mountain dog looked alternatively between Takano-san's and my face.
入江所長、今ちょっと立て込んでおりますの。大変申し訳ございませんけど、所長室にお戻りいただいてもいいですかしら。
I think that would be a good idea. Get out of their area, though. You're going to be so followed by the mountain dogs.
そうですか。そうですね。入江機関の運営はあなたに任せています。私が口を出すことではありませんね。
誰か所長室までお送りして。早く。
She's basically telling me to get out. I left the security room quietly.
もしもし、高野です。お待たせして申し訳ございませんわ。
何度もお電話して申し訳ございません。いかがですか？
申し訳ございません。今急ぐように指示をしているところです。すでに内部協力員を沖宮署に向かわせましたので、その連絡を待つだけなのですが。
そうですか。ではもうじきですね。では何時頃までにこちらにご連絡をいただけますか？
もちろん分かり次第すぐにご連絡申し上げます。ただそれがいつになるかはお約束が難しいのですが、大至急、急がせておりますので。
サンサ、飛行機に乗ったことはおありですか？
もちろんですわ。
飛行機が離陸するために加速するとき、この時に大きな出力を得るためエンジントラブルを起こすことがあるのだそうです。その時まだ大して速度が出ていないならブレーキをかけ離陸を断念するそうですが、4発の旅客機ならうち1つのエンジンが壊れていても飛行は可能ですから。それはもちろんこの度の作戦も同じです。エンジンは1つではありませんから、十分な速度が出ていれば離陸に踏み切るでしょう。後のことはどうとでもなります。ですがこの度の作戦という飛行機は まだ十分な速度どころか、これから離陸しようという段階です。お分かりですね。
The first step of the operation was Tomotake's assassination. That hasn't even happened yet, so what Nomura was saying was correct.
もしあなたが乗った旅客機が離陸前からエンジンが故障していると分かったらどうしますか？降りるでしょう？同じことです。離陸前からエンジンに故障が見つかったため、乗客であるクライアントたちが飛行機を降りたがっています。
If they were already at the point of no return, then a little mistake wouldn't matter that much. But since they're still before that point, they're overly cautious about even a tiny mistake.
それが本当に故障なのか、今点検させているところなのです。
ええ、存じています。あなたは管制塔の管制官。私は彼らをなだめる添乗員。離陸の見込みの薄くなる飛行機から降りたいと言い出すクライアントたち。そんな彼らを懸命になだめているところです。これ以上事態の改善が遅れると、この飛行プラン自体がなかったことになります。高野さんさ。それはつまり、あなたの祖父の論文が世まいごとの打分俗文であったと烙印を押されることですよ。一人の少女が死ぬと村人が全員錯乱する。バカみたい。何を根拠にそんな世まいごとを。この分厚い研究結果は全てそんな空想論文だ。なんて。おかしい。高野ひふみと高野美代って何なのかしら。おかしいおかしいおかしい。
Takano ground her teeth. She squeezed the receiver so tightly her knuckles went white.
となってしまいます。お分かりですか？これはあなたとあなたの尊敬してやまないおじいちゃんの名誉を守るためでもあるんですよ。
ええ、お気遣いをありがとうございますわ。
安心してください。私はあなたの唯一の味方です。あなたにとって一番幸せに報われる結末になるよう最後までお手伝いします。ですのでどうか私の顔も立てて沖宮署の動向を確かめてください。私も努力してますけど、機嫌を損ねるクライアントの皆さんのお相手は楽ではないもので。
ご迷惑をおかけしますわ。もうしばらくだけご猶予を。ええ、はい、失礼いたします。
Takano made sure Nomura hung up first, and then hung up herself.
おこのぎから連絡はまだないの？電話して。
三佐、つい10分前に電話したばかりです。情報が入ればすぐに連絡してくることになっています。少しお休みになられては。先ほどのコーヒーも。
The unit member tried to serve a cup of coffee to Takano, but she knocked it aside. The cup fell on the floor, making a black puddle. Everybody in the security room went silent.
何よ。
Quite different from the end of the last chapter when she was humming along, having a great time as she was killing off a bunch of people. It's some nice comeuppance, gotta say.
ボケっとしている暇があったら誰かモップでも持ってきなさい。10分前に電話してても構わない。もう一度かけて催促して。沖宮署の死体がフルで理科ではないという裏付けと行方不明の富武の確保よ。
Oh, I'm worried about Tomotake because I feel like it's only a matter of time before they're able to like cross-reference where he's staying and find him. Takano was starting to realize something. By now she could sense there was something behind Tomotake's disappearance. Tomotake must know something about what's happening at the Okanagi police station. He might look dumb, but he somehow found out about the plan and he was trying to mess with Takano. So, Tomotake was clearly behind all of it. Takano had been intending to let him enjoy the festival that night, if he behaved. The quickest way for Takano to be certain of what was happening would be to see Rika Furude's face at her house. But she couldn't leave and she couldn't trust Eerie. And because there were too many people around for the festival, the mountain dogs had their hands full. If she would answer the phone, that would do, but she wouldn't answer. That meant the house was empty, and that Rika Furude's death was real. What went wrong? Who deceived Takano? There was only one person, Eerie. Or yeah, the only person who claimed he saw her at the house. Eerie was the most suspicious person around. Tomotake had left the hotel and was nowhere to be found. So maybe Rika had left her house and was hiding somewhere else. In other words, Eerie betrayed her and was in contact with Tomotake. Uh-oh. I mean, it was only a matter of time before she'd make that connection, but still.
まさか所長の在宅確認がどうして所長が
富武はいつの段階でかわからないけれど私たちの計画に気づいたのよ。そして宿を脱出し R も秘密裏に安全なところへ避難させた。私たちはまんまと騙されて空き家を見張り続けてたのよ。
空き家ということはありえません。人影が確かに。
それが R だという保証はあるの？ R じゃない。監視する山犬を騙すために誰かがあそこに身代わりとして留守をしている。そうよ、そうに違いないわ。おこのぎに R 宅への強行突入を命じなさい。
Oh, but that means we're gonna have Akasaka versus Okanagi, and we're gonna have part 2 of their fight, except Akasaka's gonna come out on top.
誰がいるんだか知らないけど、そいつは富武や理香に通じている。そいつを締め上げるのよ。
しかし R 宅への突入は本日は不可能です。 R 宅前は水場になっており、祭りの関係者が常にごった返しています。今日の祭りが終わる深夜までは不可能です。
それを何とかするのが山犬でしょうが。なんとかしなさい、なんとか。なんで私が言うことじゃ聞いてくれないの？私の言うことは聞けないっていうの？私の上の保護者の言うことじゃなきゃ聞けないっていうの？
Oh. The unit members could only watch in silence. They knew that nothing could comfort her. The noise of the phone suddenly broke the silence. Takano practically jumped.
はい。さんさ、朗報です。カラスが東京調査部の定期連絡先の電話番号特定に成功したとのことです。電話番号は獅子骨市内。山犬が住所の特定作業に入りました。
富武だ、間違いない。ひばり、腕利きを集めろ。奴は用心してるぞ。抜かるんじゃねえ。白崎はバックアップしろ。
了解。ひばり湾より全範囲へ。突入先が特定され次第、全員登場しろ。
くそ、電話会社の協力員はまだか。
調べさせてます。5分です。
It was 8:45 a.m. They didn't know where in Shishibone he was staying, but depending on where it was, it might be too far to get there before 9 a.m. They would have to depend on luck.
バカ野郎、5分じゃねえ、50秒だ。何やってやがんだ。端末に番号を打つだけだろうが。
来ました。住所は市内平坂1丁目のホテルモデラート。
Oh shit, I didn't think it was gonna be so fast. Like, this is crazy. Like, I know this kind of started around dawn, but it's crazy. It's not even 9 a.m. and already it's like, oh, it seems like things are starting to go the opposite way of what we want.
交換機を経由しているため部屋番号は不明。
聞こえたな、ひばり。
了解。出動。
Luckily, Hirosaka Block 1 was close enough. Okanagi had been right. Tomotake was hiding nearby. Oh no. The garage doors of Okanagi Gardeners opened one after another and the white van sped off in a hurry.
やらー、今度はこっちの番だ。まさか調査部に俺の子飼いが混じってるとは思わなかったろうよ。こっちが今度は貴様を奇襲してやるぜ。
Hotel Moderato. Despite its name, it had a cheap stained sign out front. A dilapidated business hotel on the outskirts of town, the perfect place for someone to lay low in. They might draw in some guests if they renovated the building into a more modern love hotel, but it was clear they didn't have the capital for renovations that could go under any minute. That's where he should have stayed. He should have stayed in a love hotel. They wouldn't have thought about that right away. That's the kind of hotel it was. Tomotake was staying in one of the rooms on the second floor. The interior of the room was worse than his previous hotel. It only had a bed and a phone. But that phone was what he needed the most at the moment. If he didn't have to receive regular reports, he would keep changing hotels, which was safer. But he needed up-to-date information from the research division, and his course of action would change according to that information. Moving about unnecessarily might cause miscommunication in case of an emergency. Tomotake never suspected that there was a spy in the research division. The ticking sound from the clock echoed throughout the room. Oh, it doesn't look good for him. It was almost 9 a.m. But the phone might not ring at 9 on the dot. Tomotake waited in front of the phone patiently. He tried to organize the information in his head so he could answer questions more calmly. Oh shit, if they take him in before they call. Ooh, it's bad. At the same time, he kept in mind the possibility of an attack. At that time, he heard a woman scream in the distance. Uh-oh. It happened again. He heard another scream. Tomotake got the sense something was happening inside the hotel. His intuition told him that someone was checking every single room with a master key. Tomotake opened the curtain a little. He saw several mountain dogs who were blocking all the ways out of the hotel. How long had they been there? Finally, they had finally found where he was. Tomotake could hear their loud footsteps. He heard voices too. This cheap hotel wouldn't have chains on the door. They had no means to fend off the master key. Tomotake could tell there were about 20 of them. No, maybe there were more. It would be no use trying to fight with them. All he could do was hide. Oh boy, under the bed, there's like nothing there. Or in the bathroom? At the very least, the ceiling wouldn't open up like in the movies. Should he jump out the window? It was the second floor after all. It was perfectly possible to survive a jump. Oh yeah, like don't act like they don't have a bunch of guys on the floor immediately to take you in. They would be expecting that, however. Yet this was right on city grounds. If he was confident in his legs, it wouldn't be impossible to outrun them. Tomotake soon heard footsteps outside his door. This was it. Oh shit. He jumped from the window. Of course, there were mountain dogs on the ground waiting for him. They pointed and about 6 of them started running after him. Well, it's a good thing that he bikes a lot, right? So, hopefully that'll help. Tomotake shot off right from the position he landed in. This took the mountain dogs by surprise. If he had his bike, he could just bike away and hopefully get a lead on them. He had started to dash right after he jumped out the second floor window. Tomotake was prepared to do something like that. He had been training in case of an emergency, just like this one.
ひばり店よりひばり湾標的発見追跡中応援求む
ひばり湾より白鷺標的は裏通りを西に向かい逃走制圧しろ
白鷺了解白鷺234そっちへ行くぞ来たぞやつだ
3 members of the mountain dogs jumped out from behind the streetlight and stood in Tomotake's way. They prepared to stop him, but Tomotake kept running at full speed. They quickly realized he wasn't running towards them to knock them down. He was trying to run past them. There was no point in them taking a fighting position. They lowered themselves and tried to tackle him simultaneously. Tomotake jumped over them. He jumped over them like an Olympic athlete leaping over a hurdle. But he wasn't an Olympic athlete, and they weren't hurdles. Tomotake's heel struck one of the dogs. The 2 flanking Tomotake thought they'd seized hold of him. However, as he flew over them easily, he grabbed onto the 2 of their heads and smashed them. Damn, everybody's having like a moment of glory in this, and I am living for it. Especially after, like, Takano talked down about Tomotake, like, oh, he's not really anything special. You sure about that, girl? Tomotake knew this wouldn't stop them, but at least he'd gain a little time to run.
標的西側阻止線を突破追跡中バカ野郎何やってんだ白鷺10車両で回り込め2つ先のブロックを左折で9時方向に奴を捕らえる大丈夫かくそー逃がすなあの野郎なんてバカ力だくそ話が止まらねえ
And these are like top trained guys, and he took them down. Oh, I can't wait for the Akasaka face-off. That's the one I think I'm most looking forward to, other than the club members. Tomotake saw a van with its door wide open ahead of him. It couldn't stop in time and it hit the wall. As soon as it stopped, several mountain dogs jumped out of the van.
後がないぞ。かかってきやがりちしょめ。こっちは5人だ。
Tomotake saw 5 men ahead of him, but he didn't think even those 5 men could stop him. Why do trains sound their horns at people on the rails? It's not because the train will get damaged, it's because the people will get hurt. He yelled at them like the horn on a train. He wasn't warning them because they were in his way. He was warning them to move so they didn't get hurt. I love it. It's just like he's been slept on, you know? It's like he just seemed kind of a goofy guy. So it's nice to have him have like this little moment of cool.
こっちはこれだけ人数がいるんだ。体重だけ見たって奴の5倍だぞ。それで押しかけてもなお奴を止められないってのか。
ありえない。ありえねえ。絶対ここで止めろ。かかれー。
Tomotake didn't grin. After all, trains don't grin. Wait, are they gonna leave it there? Come on, I need to see what happens. Oh, god damn it. No, damn it. Damn it. The game got me. It was like, oh man, that sounded so epic. And then he just got attacked and, ugh.
あっさりだったわね。いろいろと聞きたいことがあるわ。殺しちゃダメよ。こっちへ連行して。
Alright, well now it's up to other people to save him, I guess, Tomotake. I take back everything I said about you. No, I'm joking.
どうせ殺すけど、彼には似合いの死がすでに用意してあるんだからね。
The phone continued to ring inside of Tomotake's empty hotel room. Within 30 minutes, Tomotake was dragged through the back door of the Eerie Institute wearing a gag and handcuffs. Damn it, everything was going too well. I should have known. There was going to be a snag. Tomotake didn't even move, as though he were sedated. The Mountain Dog members had carried him out of the van. Eerie saw Tomotake from his window and came out of his office in a hurry. Takano was already there. Oh, shit. And then she's like, hey, yeah, I know that you're in, like, cahoots with him also, so... The Mountain Dog silently glared at Eerie. He realized he shouldn't have left his room.
二郎さんの姿が見えないと思ったら、なんと末期発症をしていたのですわ。不審に思い、山犬たちに探させていて正解でした。
末期発症？富武さんがですか？
Of course, Tomotake didn't reply. Eerie decided not to say any more.
そうですか。それはとても不幸なことです。すぐに治療薬を投与してください。
もちろんですわ。投与の間に合う段階だといいのですが。
Eerie already knew. The Mountain Dogs had tracked him down. Eerie wasn't sure if Tomotake was able to arrange something with Tokyo. He wasn't even sure if the Bloodhounds had been called in. He could guess that Tomotake didn't have time. If the Bloodhounds were called in, the Mountain Dogs would catch that information. And if that were the case, they would likely drop everything and run. But Tomotake was captured and they brought him back to the Institute. That meant it hadn't gotten that far and they were still trying to fix the damage. In other words, Tomotake wasn't able to do what they had hoped for. He had one job, man, one job. What were they going to do to Tomotake? Since they brought him back alive, were they planning to torture a confession out of him? That would be very dangerous for him. He'd likely end up dead. Eerie realized he had to do something in Tomotake's place. The main reason why Eerie had to rescue Tomotake was because he had no way of contacting Tokyo on his own. Takano wanted Eerie to be useless, so she never told him about how to get in touch with Tokyo. Eerie could receive phone calls from Tokyo, but he could only call them through Takano. Therefore, Tomotake was the key. Unless Eerie rescued him, they couldn't possibly win. But Eerie wasn't like the Mountain Dogs. He was simply a researcher. There was no way Eerie could rescue Tomotake from such a high-security area. Oh, he's got to call Akasaka, right? He's got the, what's the word? He's got the codes to give. There were 8 Mountain Dogs in the building. There were usually only 2, but Takano would call them more. That's okay, you just need 1 Akasaka against 8 Mountain Dogs. Not even a fair fight. Of course, the basement was a highly secured area, and one needed an access card to get in. That card was only given to people in Eerie's position. In addition to the access card, one would need a fingerprint match as well. The access card alone wouldn't do it. Therefore, the only person who could rescue Tomotake from that high-security basement was Eerie. And so, even if it was impossible, Eerie had to do it. Eerie bunched up his hands into fists and held them tight to encourage himself, but he only noticed that his fists were shaking. Eerie, did you forget? Eerie remembered what Akasaka had told him.
"ただ、自らの危機を図るのはとても難しいことです。まだ大丈夫、多分大丈夫などと思っているうちに連絡の機会さえ逃してしまいかねません。少しでも嫌な予感がしたら緊急時と判断していいでしょう。陰謀の度合いから考えて敵は私たちを生かしはしません。くれぐれもご用心を。
Eerie felt the cold sweat pooling on his back. Was this the emergency Akasaka was talking about? He shouldn't think that it was still okay. He might lose the chance to run. He realized that trying to do something by himself was foolish. He had a security access card, true, but that didn't mean he had to rescue Tomotake by himself. Yeah! Just like how everyone else was trying to combine their efforts, he should also ask for help. Also, Tomotake was in their hands, which meant that the mountain dogs had realized they were under attack and were preparing to counter. It was very possible they were suspicious of Eerie too. Once they broke into Rika's house, Eerie's lies would be exposed. Indeed, this was the emergency Akasaka was talking about. Eerie had realized that. He was already in danger. He needed to leave immediately. The Sonozaki residence was their gathering spot in case of an emergency. His allies were congregating at the Sonozaki residence. He should explain the situation to them and think about how to rescue Tomotake. Takano probably wouldn't kill Tomotake immediately. She was intending to kill him that night as the 5th year's curse. So there was still a little time left. He had allies, and with his security access card, there was still a chance to rescue him. Eerie had to let Akasaka know he was escaping. If they became suspicious of Eerie, they would check the house, and Akasaka would be in danger too. In other words, it could cause a chain reaction. This is the tough part, though, is Akasaka's gotta try and sneak out of the house without the mountain dog seeing. Eerie didn't miss his last chance to escape, but he still had to do his final job. Eerie picked up the phone at his desk, called Rika's number, and left. It would continue to ring like that, sounding the emergency signal. Eerie thought back to when he wondered how long he was going to be able to stay in the director's room. He never knew this day would come so suddenly. He noticed the framed picture of his parents on his desk. Eerie had become a doctor so he could clear up the misunderstanding between his parents and regain his family ties. But how did he get involved in something like this? No, he would return. He would return and continue the fight against Hinamizawa syndrome. He vowed to himself he would never abandon that responsibility.
必ず戻ってくるよ、父さん、母さん。
Eerie said his final goodbye and left the director's office.
三佐、所長室の内線から外線へ通話中です。電話番号は
Oh no.
R 宅です。
え？どういうことそれは？盗聴できるの？
もちろんです。ここでもモニターできます。
One of the members flipped a switch. There was the sound of a ringtone. Maybe this is just Eerie, like it's just going to look like Eerie's just trying to confirm that Rika is home, because if nobody picks up, then, you know, there's no confirmation or denial of who he's trying to call.
一体このタイミングで入江所長は何をあの家に電話しようというの？
やはり R は在宅していて、富武を捕らえたことを連絡しようとしているのでは。
ありえないことじゃないわ。聞かれてるとも知らずに。
What was Eerie going to talk about? Takano waited patiently to eavesdrop on a conversation that never happened. And there was nothing but a ringtone. It had been over 30 seconds. There was no answer. Nobody was home.
所長も根気がありますね。必ずいるはずだという強い確信があるのでしょうか。
三佐、裏口のモニターカメラに所長の姿が。
Uh-oh. The black and white quad display monitor showed Eerie running out the back door.
どういうこと？じゃあ 誰が所長室から電話をしているの？
Takano became utterly confused, but the ringtone continued. It couldn't be. Takano finally realized what was going on.
罠よ。奴は私たちが監視しているのを知ってて、わざと空電話をかけて油断させた。
Now let's hope he doesn't get captured like Tomotake did.
入江は裏切り者の仲間よ。捕らえて。
一回保安室。入江所長を制圧せよ。標的は裏口から職員駐車場へ。
The two mountain dogs who were playing cards in the security room on the first floor jumped into action. This is bad because if he's going over to Rika's house, if they follow, they're gonna know he's gonna lead them right to Rika. The security room was located next to the back door, so Eerie was still within reach. Eerie had made a serious mistake. Oh no. Oh no. He could have left the clinic during the 30 seconds Takano and her men were listening to the ringtone. But when he got to the parking lot, he realized, oh no, he forgot his car key on his desk in the director's office, so he had to go back and get it. It was only at this point that he realized he shouldn't have gone back. He should have escaped on foot. But Eerie wasn't used to emergencies, unlike Akasaka. Oh, everything is going wrong in this episode. It was a typical mistake any normal person who had never gone through anything dangerous would make. Although he made mistakes, he didn't forget to call Akasaka. All we can rely on is Akasaka, the only reliable dang person here. He's got to come in and fix everything. People usually become extremely clumsy when they're in a rush. All he had to do was turn the key, but he couldn't even do that smoothly. He kept turning the key, and finally the engine started. Well, now they're on his tail, though. Eerie still thought he was all right. Oh, God, they're going to lead him right to Rika. Even if one of them questioned him, all he would have to do was say he was going out to get something. When he realized, when he released the handbrake with his sweaty left hand, I'm getting anxious just reading this. He saw two of the mountain dogs dashing out the back door. As the two of them looked around, Eerie's eyes met with one of theirs in the rearview mirror. He pointed at Eerie's car, and the two of them started running towards it. The two of them looked extremely serious, and certainly not like they were chasing after him to return a dropped pen. Oh, my dude. You fucked up, man. You fucked up. I mean, it's like they said, Eerie's a normal person. He's gonna make mistakes, but I can still be upset about it. Eerie's body was soaked with sweat. Before the two of them could jump on the car, Eerie stomped on the gas pedal and the car took off after spinning its wheels. Of course the dogs didn't give up. They got into their own car and started to chase after Eerie. Well, the last time they chased after somebody didn't work out well for Tomotake, so let's hope Eerie has better luck.
さんさ、高野よ。おそらく行き先は古出神社ね。神社に行かれたら今日は人だらけ。多少の怪我も構わない。行かせてはダメ。強引に停車させなさい。
保安了解。これより強制停車に移る。念のためバックアップを送れ。
Oh no.
本部了解。ウグイスをバックアップに送る。だがバックアップは待つな。直ちに制圧せよ。
The mountain dogs had Eerie's car in their view as it ran away at full speed. They have to find a perfect spot and timing to stop him. It's not easy to drive a car when you're in a rush. Of course, the more you step on a gas pedal, the more speed you gain. But when you're in a hurry, you can't control the steering wheel well enough to escape quickly. Oh, he's fucked. Because they're going to be stationed all over the place, and they're used to this kind of stuff. Eerie could see his pursuers in his rearview mirror, and was completely distracted by that. He was driving carelessly. Ah, no. Oh man, this is not building up to something good. His driving was so reckless he could easily get into an accident on his own. As the fear was driving him into confusion, he made a wrong turn. God damn it, I knew like Tomotake is at least, you know, he's like in the military, so he's a little bit better trained. Eerie has no chance if Tomotake couldn't escape. Ugh, and that mistake made him even more confused and panicked.
所長、そんな運転じゃ危ねえぞ。一発で免停だぜ。
Maybe Eerie and Tomotake are just destined to die no matter what. Although the two guys were ordered to stop him, they were starting to think Eerie was going to get into an accident without them doing anything. They'd rather not drag this into a car chase if they didn't have to.
追跡中の保安車両へ。こちら大鳥1。聞こえるか？
隊長だ。こちら保安車両。現在追跡中。現在地は5丁目付近林道。詳細な位置は不明。
本部要請につき、バックアップに向かってる。到達予定は15分後。こっちは当てにするな。俺だって間に合うわけねえと思ってんだ。
Okanagi grumbled. He had to leave Okonomiya in a hurry to respond to Major Princess. But because of the distance, there was no way he could get there in time. Even so, he was still ordered to provide backup. He could have explained, but the princess wouldn't have listened to him anyway. Hopefully, while Okanagi is doing this, maybe something else will happen, and he's not going to be around for it. And maybe, I'm just hoping we're going to get something good in this episode. It just seems like this is where the plan all falls apart. The mountain dogs who were with Okanagi smiled bitterly.
追跡の方角は
最悪の場合町の方へ抜けます。
そいつは許すな。山狩りはしてやる。足を破壊しろ。そこに人目は？武装は？
両脇は深い森林です。人目はなし。武装は保安車両常備の短期間銃が1。
The guy in the passenger seat reclined it and climbed into the back. He lifted one of the seats and took out a black machine gun. The paint on one corner was coming off, and the shiny silver metal was exposed. It was a machine gun, but it didn't look as powerful as an ordinary one. However, once the dog extended a shoulder stock and set it into place, the weapon looked far more vicious.
保安常備は MP5 だな。A5 か SD3 か
The man in the back seat looked at the uniquely shaped gun barrel. It was thick and long.
SD3 です。サイレンサー付き。
発砲を許可する。フルバーストでタイヤを破壊しろ。
Oh no, this is not good.
保安車両了解。攻撃する。
The guy in the back seat opened up the driver's side back window and leaned out of the car. And he's in the forest. Nobody's going to even know that Eerie's there. It's fucked. It's all fucked. I know it's probably going to end up being okay in the end, but this is not good. His sharp eyes aimed at one of the tires on Eerie's vehicle. It was a straight road. Eerie's car was weaving, but not enough to avoid a shot. The pursuers had his car in their sights. They were trying to get as close to Eerie's car as possible, but they were afraid they might get caught up if overturned. They soon decided it was as close as they were going to get.
3カウントで発砲する。3、2、1。
Fire. The sound the machine gun made was a lot quieter than what people would imagine, but its power was unimaginable. One of the tires on Eerie's car was cut to shreds and collapsed into a puff of white smoke. Fuck me. Because one tire collapsed all of a sudden, Eerie lost control of his car. He tried to steer away, but that made things even worse. As it spun, Eerie's car drove off the shoulder of the road and slid down the slope into the forest. Now, if this was Sadako, I'd be like, okay, fine, whatever, she's in the forest, she's in her element, it's all good, but like Eerie, it's like, I doubt he goes out into the forest a lot. The sound of trees breaking and the car being battered from every direction disappeared down the slope. The pursuers stopped their car and looked down after it, but the plants were growing so high it was impossible to check from there.
攻撃成功。標的車両は斜面を転落。死亡の可能性もあり。これより徒歩で追跡、制圧する。
大鳥湾了解。ウグイスが周囲を探し回ってるぞ。運が良ければ合流するだろう。こっちは相変わらず間に合わん。お前らが頼りだ。頼むぞ。
了解。更新を終わる。行くぞ。
The mountain dogs left their car and headed into the woods without hesitation. Oh my god, they're just gonna leave it there? Oh man, okay. Akasaka had received the phone signal from Eerie. The phone rang for over 3 minutes. The signal told Akasaka that Eerie was in some kind of emergency and that Akasaka himself was in danger now. Takano made a mistake. She didn't realize the ringtone itself was the signal. She assumed someone staying at the house would pick up the phone eventually. Her error allowed Akasaka to receive that extremely important forewarning. Akasaka waited for exactly 3 minutes, then ran downstairs quickly. He had already put his shoes on while listening to the phone ringing. Akasaka had memorized the layout of the town from the map he'd kept near the phone. See, that's how you do it, Eerie. This is how you do it. He knew the shortest route to the Sonozaki residence, as well as a number of alternative routes, just in case the shortest was already blocked. People would be surprised to see a stranger coming out of the house, but Akasaka didn't care about that at the moment. He had to get to the Sonozaki residence immediately. However, the observers would see him, and that was a problem. They'd soon come after him. Upon finding the house empty, they'd assume the man who ran from it knew something. Once Akasaka left Rika's house, he had to be prepared to fight, except we know he does know how to fight, so he'll be fine, I'm sure. If Akasaka goes down, I have very little faith. He relaxed his shoulders and reached for the doorknob. Oh, here we go. Man, oh man, this is action-packed, this episode.
男？何者？どうでもいいわ。追って捕らえて。
監視班了解。制圧する。
It was only 10 a.m. It was a lively morning. Many people were getting ready for the festival. Akasaka weaved through the people going in the opposite direction and ran down the stairs leading from the shrine. The mountain dogs were already chasing after him. There was a significant gulf between the happy faces on the villagers and the serious faces on Akasaka and his pursuers. He could hear them coming up behind him. He didn't even need to turn around to check. Akasaka held his breath, focusing all of his senses to their limits as he sprinted even faster than he usually could with all his might. The success rate of an escape depends on the distance between the pursuer and the pursued. Even a little distance makes a difference. Akasaka ran down to the bottom of the stairs like the wind, then headed in the opposite direction away from the Sonozaki residence. Of course, this wasn't a mistake of his, because he doesn't make mistakes. He just wanted to lose them.
やろう。なんてスピードだ。奴は韋駄天かよ。
The observers weren't ready for this chase. They never expected a fast and fully grown man to run out of the house. They assumed it would be a little girl. That assumption was their mistake. Besides, Akasaka's locomotive-like power was nothing like that of normal people. There was no way they could catch him. The mountain dogs fell for Akasaka's trick. They called HQ, told them he was heading in the opposite direction, and followed him that way. Akasaka was confident he could have them completely confused if he had a little bit more time. Not only that, he could have attacked them individually. Were there 3 pursuers? No, there was probably 4 of them. His mind, body, and skills were all in top condition, so it should be possible for him. Usually overrating oneself is dangerous, but Akasaka was above such an immature level. Resisting violently at a place other than his destination might prompt them to waste manpower and time. But Akasaka wasn't sure of the real meaning of Eerie's phone signal. They were at a severe level of emergency. Akasaka had no time to waste, so he had to get to the Sonozaki residence. As Akasaka ran as fast as he could, he tried to think about the situation calmly. Could he attack them first and then head to the Sonozaki residence? The pursuers were scattered about and running out of breath. It would not be easy to fight 4 men at the same time, but it would be different to take them one-on-one. When Akasaka decided he had a high enough chance of winning, he took a deep breath and made a U-turn around his streetlight. Just imagine that, just seeing this guy. First he's running and then he just turns and he's running straight at you. It's just like, oh shit. The mountain dogs were surprised to see the man who was running away from them was now running towards them. They prepared themselves to fight, and I feel like this is going to go better than when Tomotake ran at them. But before Akasaka even reached them, he already had everything all planned out in his head. He had calculated how many blows would be required to take them all out. But his calculations were wrong. Oh, god damn it. Without even needing a second blow, the first pursuer dropped. Oh, there we go. After one of Akasaka's legendary armor-piercing punches connected with his face. This dude is like an anime, superhero. Like, what the hell? It's like he's in the wrong game. And while the first was still in the air, his second armor-piercing punch took out the second pursuer. Well, at least something went right. There was a chorus of cicadas, which woke Eerie up. He needed a little time to realize what had just happened. His seatbelt had saved him from serious injury. However, it was sheer luck the metal parts of the seatbelt didn't get tangled and that the door didn't become warped. He was on the bottom of the slope near a different forest road. Eerie endured the pain and removed his seatbelt. He got out of his car soon after. He heard someone walking towards him through the bushes. A pursuer. He couldn't get caught just yet. If he was captured, it would be impossible to rescue Tomotake. Not only that, nobody would even know that Tomotake was captured in the basement of the clinic. Even though Eerie knew he was helpless, he couldn't falter here. The only thing he could do was resist them and run for as long as he could. But as soon as he started to run, Eerie realized that, oh, the guy's probably got like a broken leg or something. He had no strength, his legs were shaking, and he couldn't even see straight. He had only been stepping on the gas pedal, but his lungs were about to explode and his brain was lacking an option. Like, basically the exact opposite of Akasaka. It had to be that certain type of exhaustion that came immediately after hyperarousal. Eerie understood that intellectually, but he still couldn't get his body moving. He tried to run, albeit in a wobbly way. He heard a noise coming down the slope behind him. This was it. But Eerie still tried to run as far as he could. Damn it. Eerie heard the voice of his pursuer. Shit, he thought. What can I do? This is why you should always have pocket sand. Emergency pocket sand. I have to run. I have to. Oh! Shion. Will Shion come to the rescue? I was waiting for this girl. I was like, I know that she's capable.
シオンさん、さっきから歌ってるその歌は何ですか？
Don't you know? It's really popular nowadays.
すみません。音楽には疎いもんで。ん？
Oh my gosh, did they just happen? Oh my gosh, what luck. What luck. Literally, Shion's thing is like Shion just coming in at just the right moment. Ah, Shion, you'll redeem yourself if you help Eerie here. There was a wrecked car ahead. White smoke was still visible, so the accident must have just happened. Kasai slowed down.
どうしたの？やっちゃったですね。あれ、監督じゃない？
Come on, Kasai. Their car stopped. The sound of the brake startled Eerie, and he fell in his behind. Eerie was obviously the one who had been in the accident.
ハロー、監督。
What luck.
まさ
What
かあ
luck.
れ、監督の車ですか？
It's just funny because Shion is like completely like outside of the plan in this one, and she's still coming in and helping out.
シオンさん。
大丈夫ですか、入江先生。すぐ医者へ行かれた方がいい。
監督を診療所に連れてって、監督が自分で診察するわけですね。
さあ、立てますか。診療所までお連れしましょう。
診療所は困ります。園崎家に行かな。
監督？ちょっとどういうことよ。まずいんじゃない？
Kasai looked at Eerie's car, then looked around the area. Then he whispered to Shion.
シオンさん、訳ありのようです。
どうしたの？
入江先生の車に弾痕が。しかも拳銃とは思えません。
マジ？そっち持って。ひとまず本家に連れて行こう。
Yes, yes. Oh my god, amazing. Amazing, amazing. Are the mountain dogs not watching this right now being like, are you serious? The two of them loaded Eerie into the back seat, got in the car, and left in a... I can't believe the mountain dogs didn't be like, gun them down and kill these two. They're helping Eerie out. They got to assume maybe these two are part of this plan, right? I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. This is awesome. Like, and of all it's Shion who can take them to the residence he was trying to get to anyway, so perfect.
診療所は困る。どういうことだろう。
診療所の何者かに追われたと見るのが今は妥当でしょうが、話を聞くまでわかりません。
I'm just worried that they're going to be followed by the mountain dogs.
ただ、相当のヤバいことに巻き込まれたのは間違いないようです。
あれ？どこ行くの？
Shion was confused. Kasai, yes, he probably, I mean, right? Kasai's a member of, like, the Yakuza, so of course he probably knows these things. It's like, he probably knows that they're being followed, so he's got to try and get them off his trail.
敵は先生のタイヤを狙ってました。生かして捕らえるつもりです。私たちのすぐ近くに追っ手が迫っていたかもしれません。
ってことは追ってきてる？後方に遮影なし。この地形じゃ密着尾行以外は不可能でしょ。
念のためです。
Yep, that's the thing, right? It's like you take multiple left or right turns if you think someone's following you, and if someone is taking those same turns, then you know you're being followed.
もう一度だけ左折したら本家へ直行します。申し訳ありませんが、シオンさんは後方監視をお願いします。
了解です。
保安より本部、標的は民間車両に拾われた模様。車両ナンバーと車種を送る。
本部了解。捜索中のウグイスは民間車両に標的を変更。至急捜索せよ。入江所長は極力生きたままで確保。接触民間人も制圧せよ。ただし生死は問わない。
大丈夫なの？すぐに見つかるの？
ご安心を。所長の白衣には発信機が。
Oh, son of a bitch. Shit.
ウグイスの応援車両には測定器が積まれていますので、
no.
三角測定法で位置を検知できます。
Oh, so no matter what, even after all this, they're going to lead them right to the Sonozaki. Oh, shit. Eerie was lying in the back seat wearing his white coat. There was a device on his collar. The security department put it there just in case. So no matter how hard Shion tried to look for anyone following them, the enemy already knew exactly where they were.
ウグイス3、標的車両を発見。水車小屋の前を小道に入った。
There was a map of Hinamizawa on the table in the security room. The path by the watermill led to a certain private property. It belonged to the Sonozaki family, and the Sonozaki residence was the only building on it.
Sansa!
No.
あらあら、袋のネズミね。
Looks like I'm gonna get that big battle I wanted after all.
こちら大鳥1。ウグイス、まだ突入するな。もうじき大鳥が合流する。合流してから一度に突入するぞ。
ウグイス1、了解。
They just have to stay in the bunker, right? Like they said, Mion said the bunker is meant for, basically it can hold off just about anything. And then there was all that talk about the, the secret exit into the woods, into the mountains. There has to be, they had to have brought that up for a reason because we're going to have that big battle in the mountains. And I'm so hyped.
ウグイスにさっさと突入させないと相手に無駄な時間を与えるわよ。
感度あるし。
誰も私の言うことなんか聞かないんだから。
The Sonozaki family's basement had a security system which displayed images captured from the various security cameras on the property. Of course, it wasn't as high-tech as the one at the Eerie Institute. It was in the room on the second floor of a gas house. Huh. A Japanese-style room where you had to kneel to avoid hitting your head. I've never heard that term before. With bundles of wire snaking away from the monitors. It felt like a hidden chamber. There was electricity and a phone nearby, and although it was in the basement, it had all the basic amenities of the Sonozaki residence. At first, all the club members had watched the monitor curiously, but after a while it got too hot in such a tiny room. Mion and Rena stayed in the room to observe the monitor.
みーちゃん、なんだろう。車が入ってきたよ。
これは笠井さんの車だね。多分シオンでしょ。今日の祭りに合わせて遊びに来たってことだろうね。たくなんでこんな日に。空気の読めないやつ。
Their granny had been at the shrine since early morning, so there was nobody upstairs to answer the door. And if Mion didn't answer it, Shion would think nobody was home. Mion wondered if she should tell Shion what was going on. Shion could be helpful sometimes. Kasai's car stopped in front of the gate. Someone was getting out of it.
あれ？みーちゃん、あれ監督だよ。
They saw Shion and Kasai holding Eerie on the monitor. Obviously, something serious had happened.
行ってみよう。レナにケイちゃん、一緒に来て。サトコたちはここでモニターの監視。リカちゃんは表に出ちゃダメだよ。羽生はそれでも出てかないようリカちゃんの監視。
お任せですわ。なのです。みー、ひどいのです。
Maybe Okanagi had made the right decision. If he had let Nightingale go in as Takano had ordered it, it would have been on the monitor. But Okanagi ordered them to stand by until another unit arrived, so they waited. So Mion didn't notice the enemy was about to attack. God damn it, are you serious? By this time there were many vehicles belonging to the mountain dogs parked by the windmill. Okanagi and Phoenix One had joined with Nightingale, and they were getting ready to head in. I wasn't expecting this to happen so soon. However, it had been a good idea to leave Sadako to watch the monitor. And if Mion hadn't gone out, Eerie would have been killed. Mion didn't know it yet, but Eerie was their only hope of rescuing Tomotake. So as a result, entirely by circumstances, they did everything correctly. Yay, something good happened for once.
おねえ、もう神社の方かな。シオン、お姉たちどっから来てんですか。さては地下にいましたね。
シオン、シャッシャッシャッシャッ。
あそこで遊んでるって鬼ババに言いつけますよ。んなことはどうでもいい。監督は監督。
まさかやられたのか。
ってことはお姉たちも訳ありのようですね。何が起こってるんです？
しーちゃん、話すからよく聞いて。
Oh, hopefully, Hopefully it's just a tracking device on Eerie's. Well, no, that was a stupid thing I just said, because I was like, if it was a recording device, they would have known way long ago that Eerie was in on all of this. So it is just a tracking device.
監督、何があったんですか。
すみません。富武さんが山犬に捕まりました。診療所の地下区画に囚われているようです。私は逃げる時に奴らに追われて事故を起こしてしまい。
Eerie explained everything he could while enduring the pain. Everyone was happy to see him safe, but Mion's expression quickly grew stern. Then she asked Shion a question.
追われてる。尾行はなかったよ。
とにかく中へ。良くない雲行きです。
They heard the sound of a car approaching, and it wasn't alone. Who could it be at this time of day? Here we go. It was a waste of precious seconds to even think that.
つけられてんじゃん、シオンのバカ。つけられてないもん、お姉のバカ。
Kasai picked up both sisters and ran through the gate.
地下へ急ぎましょう。あそこなら安全です。
ミオンさん、変な車がいっぱい来ますわよ。分かってる。地下に戻って。扉を閉めるよ。リカちゃんは？羽生さんと一緒に隠し部屋に入りましたわ。
ウグイス6標的を発見。R の友人数人も一緒です。
間違いないわ。そうよね、ジローさん。
Tomotake was lying on the floor of the security room. His hands and legs were cuffed, and there was another pair of handcuffs to connect them, leaving him bent backwards on the floor. He couldn't get up or even turn around. Takano laughed and poked Tomotake's side with the toe of her shoe. The mountain dogs climbed over the fence easily. There was no need for anyone to explain at this point. It was obvious they were the enemy, and that they were the mountain dogs that Rika had spoken about many times. They went through the grove of trees and headed for the entrance of the underground storehouse. The first 5 mountain dogs were supposed to capture them all, but they fell down, one after another. Just as one of the mountain dogs started to wonder why they fell. Ha ha! Yes, the traps, the traps! He felt something on his leg. The next moment, he was flying through the air. Of course, Sadako didn't just put traps in the mountains. As he stood up, his leg got pulled again. He realized then there was a rope wrapped around his leg. Because of the way he fell, the rope was wrapped tightly around it and wouldn't come off easily. Sadako had set up lots of traps in the bushes. After all, she wouldn't just sit around all day on an empty property. The club members headed into the underground storehouse one after another. The mountain dogs couldn't do anything, although they did see them. It was a heavy door, but when they put all their strength together, it closed easily. Mion locked the door quickly, putting on the deadbolt for good measure.
これ大丈夫かな？破られないかな？テレビには5台、6台、いえ、もっと映ってたかもしれませんわ。全部ワゴン車で、中には変な男たちがいっぱい。
簡単には破られないでしょうが、荒ごとに慣れている連中です。過信しない方がいいでしょう。
Before he could even finish speaking, someone pounded on the door. The second group of mountain dogs had arrived. Although the heavy door was separating them, it wasn't all comforting to know that the enemy was just on the other side.
私の失態ですみません。
監督は何も失敗してないですよ。とにかく奥へ行こ
う。そうだな。監視カメラの様子で敵の人数を探ろうぜ。
はいはい。私はのけ者で事情もわからずいきなりクライマックスですよ。はい。もう。あんたには5分時間ができたら全部説明するから。
ウグイス1より大鳥1。標的は防空壕のようなところへ逃げ込んだ。扉は鋼鉄製。突破できない。
大鳥1了解。 この園崎家ってやつはとんでもない金持ちだな。敷地が広すぎて包囲は不可能だ。包囲は断念。俺たちも突入に加わるぞ。ウグイスはその辺の倒木を探せ。大筒にして扉をぶち破る。
大鳥7より大鳥1、インドア用のプラバクがあります。準備しますか？
Plastic explosives are explosives for military use. There are various different kinds, but he was talking about the types specifically made to break down doors. Okanagi momentarily thought it was a good idea, but changed his mind right away. This was a small village. If there was an explosion, everyone would hear. It was daytime and they were on the surface. It was the worst time and place for the mountain dogs to do their job.
さすがに爆破は無理だな。あ？いや待て。今何時だ？
もうじき10時です。
Once again, it's amazing how quickly things are like happening. It's only not even 10 a.m. and all this stuff has already happened.
大鳥7。
Oh no.
新刊を準備しろ。
Because everybody's at the festival.
は？隊長、どうして10時だと爆破が可能なんですか？
Okanagi's mind was working sharper than ever. He was sure that this would work. Everyone gathered. Okay, so wow, okay. Sorry for ending it on a little bit of a cliffhanger. It's going to be difficult to find good places to end the videos from here on out, because I think like it's just basically just bombing through. I don't think there's going to be any slowing down, but oh my god, I knew things weren't going to be all smooth sailing, but things went up shit creek so much faster than I expected it to, and it just like in rapid succession. So I'm hyped. I am so hyped to see how the gang is going to be able to turn things around, because it seems like they are not in a good position right now, but yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens next. I hope you guys are hyped too. So stay tuned for the next episode, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye guys. Special shout out to my top tier patrons: Namara Kito, Sparky, Icognito, Simon Rax, Mad Goldsmith, Harry Gazif, and Asborn Kennedy.